This is the Russian Dynamite, Masha Slamovich.
Becca here.
This is not America's sweetheart, Davian.
It's Billy Starks. And
the super fly guy, Trayvon Jordan.
This is the fly side flyer, Jalen Brandon.
Hardcore Princess, Jules Malone.
Hi there, this is the Bubblegum Princess, Alexia Nicole.
This is the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Christy James.
This is the baddest black belt, Chennai Kai.
This is Kid Bandit.
The smash hit Joel Bateman.
This is Robin Renegade.
Cody Hawk.
Brutal Bob Evans. And you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
Hey there, it's your friendly neighborhood farmer, Free Range Kara, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. I'm totally sorry.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today. The trusted audio experience for interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox. Sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I am, of course, your host, James J., alongside Scooter Dust.
New phone, who this?
And it's a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with the only wrestler certified by the USDA, Free Range Kara.
Hey there, everybody.
How are you? Oh, hello?
Oh, sorry, I didn't hear what you said there.
How are you?
I'm doing great. How about yourself?
I'm good. And what's coming up next for you?
My next show is coming up. It's the day after Thanksgiving, or 2 days after Thanksgiving, I guess. I've got First Wrestling at the James Valentine VFW in Minneapolis, Minnesota.
You also have a big match against Lainey Luck on December 9th, I believe?
Yeah, I do. I'm facing her. Oh, is that the Canada show? Yeah, that's the Canada show. I'll be up in Winnipeg, Canada.
Right. And where can we find you on social media and your merchandise?
On social media, you can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, Twitch. All of them are at Free Range Kara. I have my own website where you can find my merchandise at freerangekara.com. And I'm sure there's something else that I'm forgetting, but I'll bring it back to that if I remember.
Okay. And all of, you don't have to go looking for those links. All of those links will be in the description of the video below, both on YouTube and Castbox.
Mm-hmm.
Alright, let's get into it. You wrestled Billy Starks in the Mall of America with Victoria as the special guest referee. Lots to unpack there. First and foremost, a legendary building in the Mall of America. You're wrestling the young legend, and the third person in the ring is an absolute legend themselves. So, What was that experience like?
Wow, that show at the Mall of America was like, you like to get a little bit of nervous jitters before every match because, you're going out there and performing. But that match was a whole like 3 levels above anything I'd ever done before. Getting to wrestle in the Mall of America, which hadn't had wrestling in 27 years. Getting to wrestle Billy Starks, who I admire as a person and a competitor, and getting to have, freaking Victoria as our referee, someone that I've looked up to in wrestling, who's really been a great asset to me in the wrestling business, is just, and, getting to work with First Wrestling, it was like a perfect storm of everything that I was looking for in my career.
I can imagine. The Mall of America, not a lot of people can say that they've actually wrestled there, except for, obviously the first ever Nitro.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it's really cool to say that, like, I'm one of the only female wrestlers to have gotten to wrestle in the Mall of America. Like, it's a very, I don't want to call it like an elite class, but like, it's so cool to be part of such a niche group of people who've done something.
Oh, absolutely. You go shopping afterwards?
I wish. No, it was, I can't remember what time the show ended, but then there was the after party, and I was dog tired because I'd just gotten back from Winnipeg that morning. Like, I was in Winnipeg the night before wrestling, stayed overnight in Winnipeg, and then drove all the way back and made it back just in time for call for Mall of America show. So literally did not stop for like 24 hours.
That's crazy.
Mhm.
Scooter, you have a question.
Yes. Now, you have certainly a unique gimmick in today's day and age. First off, you're certified by the USDA, so what grade does the USDA certify you under?
Oh, I'm obviously certified Prime.
And with free shipping, too. Okay, Prime. No, I'm not going to ask about how much marbling. But I do have to ask the following, because I went to a high school that had two specialties. One was writing, which I was in, and the other was agriculture.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure this group is still going today. The FFA. Did you ever do 4-H or Future Farmers of America?
I was in both. I was in 4-H for 9 years, and then when I moved to a bigger school to go to high school, I was in the Future Farmers of America for 6 years, from 7th grade to senior year.
Wow.
Yeah, I did about everything I could do. I was in range judging. I was on I auditioned to be a state officer. I didn't quite get that one, but I did end up getting my American degree. So I did as much as I physically could in the organization.
Ooh. Nice. I mean, since I wasn't an Aggie, as we said, all I knew was to hang out in the greenhouse. Cool. Oh, I love that, though. All right, James.
Yes. Early on in your career, you was in a triple threat match against Shotzi Blackheart and Jody Threat.
Yeah.
What was that experience like? Because, obviously Shotzi is Shotzi and Jody Threat is one of the more hard-hitting independent talents out there.
Yeah, absolutely. That was my first time going up to Canada to wrestle, so it was like, it's firmly imprinted in my brain, not only because of, it being my first time working in Canada. It was my first time working Jody Threat. It was my first time, doing that kind of triple threat setting with those ladies. And also, it was the first time that I've broken my teeth in wrestling. I broke my teeth on a pool table up in Winnipeg when Shotzi put me in cattle mutilation on a pool table. So it happened relatively early in the match. So I just had to I held my pieces of broken teeth in my mouth throughout the rest of the match. So it was a very memorable match for me, and working with Shotzi and working with Jody was obviously amazing because they're both two amazing competitors. So it was a great experience.
No, I'm surprised that Shotzi is the one that broke your teeth, because I mean, Jody is I would say, is the more hard hitting.
Yeah, I mean, she is a hard hitter, but sometimes your face meets the front side of a pool table, and that's what happens.
I could imagine. But I mean, at that stage in your career, obviously, two big names.
Yeah.
Was it kind of like drawing you into the deep end, so to speak?
I wouldn't say it was throwing me into the deep end, because I can hang. I don't have the name recognition that Shotzi and Jody do yet, but I've done my rounds. I've fought a lot of name worthy opponents.
Oh yeah.
I just need my I've wrestled Kiera Hogan, I've wrestled Taya Valkyrie, I've wrestled Shotzi, I've wrestled with Victoria and ODB. So I've got my list of names.
Oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Scooter.
Yes. Tell us about Paranoia.
Oh boy, my first love, Paranoia. I really enjoyed my time as Paranoia. But in the end, it turned into a case of like, I don't really relate to Paranoia. You know, it was like my first character starting out of wrestling, and I was kind of just being what I thought I was supposed to be. Like, this is what people would imagine if they were like, oh, it's a female wrestler. So I drew inspiration from like pop punk bands, obviously my Paramore Riot inspired gear. And like, I did a lot of cool things as Paranoia, but it just didn't quite click with me, and I didn't know how to take Paranoia to the next level. So with a break in the pandemic, when I had a year off, I sat there and thought, you know, what am I going to do when I come back? And who am I going to be? You know, am I going to stick with what I know with Paranoia, or am I going to jump into, I felt both like new but also familiar territory with Free Range Kara. And, you know, as I'm, you know, sitting there watching other people wrestle while I'm taking a break to take care of my life, I'm seeing a lot of characters come back to wrestling. You see your war horse, you see your Danhouse, and you see all these characters showing up in wrestling again. I was like, I can do that. I can do that. I can be more character-y. I can, you know, go for something that means more to me. And like, I grew up on a farm for the first 18 years of my life, so like a farmer character is not far off from who I really am as a person. And ever since I've come back as Free Range Kara, I've gotten a lot of compliments about, you know, I just seem like I'm much more comfortable in the ring. I'm like enjoying myself more, and it just seems more authentic with what I'm doing, both in and out of the ring.
Oh, all right.
Correct me if I'm
All
wrong,
right.
but Free Range started on social media before she got into the ring, correct?
Yeah, I did a couple promos ahead of time just to kind of explain why I was going from Paranoia to Free Range Kara, just so it wasn't like a weird cutoff like, oh, she used to be this, but now she's this totally different thing. Like, what happened? It's also a good way to keep myself a little relevant while I was waiting to get back into the ring. Like, at least I'm putting out content and letting people know what's going on in my life.
Right, because it was a big chunk of time between matches during the pandemic, right?
Yeah, it was about, I think it was March of 2020 to May of 2021 was my unintended hiatus from wrestling.
What was that first bump like back?
You know, it's one of those things where it's like, if you haven't like played basketball in a while and then you like get in there and you just start playing basketball with your friends, and like things hurt, but it's a familiar hurt to you, and you're like, oh yeah, this is what this feels like. I was definitely sore the next day, but like it's kind of like getting back on a bike. Like you kind of get the gist of it, and you know, it's all muscle memory.
All right. Well, I think that's a great segue into my next question. Tell us about Free Range Stories on YouTube.
Oh yeah, I've got all of my most of my YouTube videos are stories of me from the farm or things that I experienced growing up in rural North Dakota. I talk about the calf that I bottle fed. I talk about one of my newer ones that isn't out on YouTube yet, but is up on my Patreon, was how we did Halloween and trick-or-treating, you know, when you live 20 miles from the nearest gas station and stuff like that. But yeah, I kind of am divulging into my life, my backstory. Because you find even though you have different like experiences than other people, because, you know, I grew up so far away from everybody, like there's that similar feeling of like connectedness. Like, oh yeah, we've all been through similar situations where something seemed terrible, but in the end you could laugh about it.
Oh yeah, and I really enjoyed those videos, you know, because, you know, the physical part is one part of it, but getting to know the person behind it is also a fun aspect as well. All right, Scooter. Hello?
Yes.
Okay.
Tell us about your wedding and how camels were involved.
Yes, we definitely didn't hide that part of our wedding. Some of our friends jokingly said they were only coming for the camels. My husband Chris and I got married back in June, and we had our wedding reception at the zoo in Fargo, the Red River Zoo. And as we were booking this venue for our reception, I was looking through the different like add-ons and options you could get, and one of them was, hey, for like $100, like you can add a camel feeding onto your stay. And we like looked at each other and we're like, it's only $100. We have to do this. Like that's so cool. Like who else? Like imagine every other wedding that you've gone to in your life, and like who else had camels that you could just feed? Like that's so cool, and what a memorable thing. Especially like, you know, we had some young kids at the wedding, and also just adults who like going to the zoo. And so it was a really cool experience to have, and we have some really nice pictures from the zoo.
Oh, I love that. For me, all the weddings I've been to, the camels were the ones getting married. So, yeah, James.
Right. You was also in the ring with Gigi Dolan. Can you tell us about your experience being in the ring with somebody that's currently on killing it in WWE?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And that was actually a fatal four-way match. That was my last match before the pandemic hit. It was a fatal four-way between myself, Lainey Luck, Gigi Dolan, and also Cora Jade was in that match. So getting to have the two women who are now on NXT was really cool, and getting to see their careers like go up. It's really cool to do that because I've known Cora Jade since she started wrestling. So it's awesome to see how much she's grown and all the things she gets to do. It's really cool. I didn't get to work a lot with Gigi in that match, but it's really cool to be there, be in the ring with someone with so much experience and so many ideas.
Was you able to talk to her and after the match?
I didn't get to a lot. I was feeling a little weird at the end of the match, so I kind of just laid down and like hid myself away for a little bit. But yeah, I didn't really get to talk to her that much.
All right, and there's no immediate tag team between Priscilla Kelly and Free Range Carr.
Not that I know of, unless one of us jumped ship to a different company.
Well, you have the video on Instagram.
Video on Instagram.
Yeah, but you said to Priscilla Kelly you would like to tag team with her.
Oh yeah, I made some videos too. I asked my Instagram followers who they'd like me to cut a promo on, so I just made some quick little videos. I'd forgotten about those.
Scooter.
Yes.
Don't forget the Burger King question.
Yeah, not going for that bit. So correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe you are also a licensed veterinarian?
Veterinary technician, just like the nurse of the animal world.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Since we hate downers of stories, tell us about the most memorable animal you've ever come across as a veterinary technician.
Ooh, that's a tough one. I've seen so many in the last 5 years.
As the cat's crossing the background.
Yeah, I got the boys in the background. You can't. Well, the orange one on top is Butter, and then the one creeping around in the background is Ritz.
Ritz Butter?
Yeah, Ritz and Butter.
You need one named Cup.
Well, Buttercup's full name is Buttercup, but we call him Butter. Let's see. There was this really, really nice golden retriever that was at my old clinic. She'd had 8 litters of puppies in her life, and then she had become a retired breeding dog. So she was just living her best life. And that clinic I worked at did animal acupuncture. So I got to see her, I think it was once a month, and we'd trim her nails up, we'd do some acupuncture, she'd get some injections, and she was just the nicest dog in the world, because she had so many puppies, she just kind of just laid there and let you do whatever you wanted. She was a really, really sweet dog.
Oh, I right. Now, going from most memorable, what is the most unusual animal that's ever come across? Like something you wouldn't exactly immediately take to a typical vet.
We had someone bring us a dead snake in a bag one time.
Okay.
We don't see birds or reptiles, but someone just brought us this dead snake in a bag. So we're like, I don't know what to do with this. So we took an X-ray of it, just look at it. But I mean, it was dead.
Did he look like Nick Fury, and did he come off a plane, and did he swear a lot?
Unfortunately, no. He was a little too dead to swear.
Talking about the person that brought the snake.
Oh, the person who brought the snake.
That's even better.
No, they're very much not Nick Fury, but that would have been great.
All right, James.
That being said, can you tell us about your rivalry with cats?
My rivalry with cats?
They keep biting your finger.
Oh, my cat bite finger.
Yes.
The famed cat bite finger. I've gone to the hospital 2 different times for this particular finger. One time, a kitten, he probably wasn't more than 8 weeks old. He bit me right on the joint of my first finger, my pointer finger. And, we lived on a farm. Like, we didn't just go to the doctor. So we're like, I cleaned it out with soap and water. I was like, let's see what this looks like the next day. Next day it was swollen, and I had an infection tract running up my hand and into my arm. So the Sunday before I started 8th grade, I went to urgent care, which was an hour away. When they then sent me to a bigger clinic, which was, I think, 2.5 hours away from the first clinic. And I stayed overnight, and I had surgery to clean out my finger. So I spent my first day of 8th grade in surgery. And I went home the next day, and everything was fine. I had this little zigzag scar on my finger. And then a couple of years later, I got bit by what we suspect was a rabid cat in the same finger. And so that's how I got my rabies vaccine. And so I'm fully protected against rabies. So that's a little fun fact, which is great for the job that I have now, because sometimes you get bit.
Yeah, of course.
And then actually, a couple years ago, I got a new scar, not on the finger, but on the same hand, from a kitty cat who did not like the medication I gave her, and she just dug her hand and just went down my own hand. I have this scar running from my wrist halfway up my thumb from her nail.
What are the odds that it was the same finger and even the same hand?
I know, it's really weird, because it's not even my dominant hand. So it's not even like that hand was in action. It just got in the way.
Could you say that you had more injuries from wrestling cats than in the actual ring?
I would say so. I've been to urgent care more times for cats and dogs than I've been to for wrestling. I don't think I've ever gone to urgent care for wrestling. Knock on wood. Let me knock on wood real quick.
Yes, knock on wood. Alright, Scooter, you have a question.
Yes. Can you tell us the story around now, let me rephrase this. It's highly unusual for any car to reach 100,000 miles, let alone 250,000 miles. Can you tell us the story of the 250,000th mile and how did that car keep running?
Yeah, and it's still running too. As of today, I'm at 284,000 miles. We're just, again, knock on wood. I've been very lucky to have the van that I do, the caravan we call it. I've had it since my second year of college. It had at least 100,000 miles on it when it was gifted to me. Well, not gifted to me. I think I paid my parents $500 for it. And they'd driven it for a couple years before that. So let's see, I would have gotten that then in 2014. So I've had this van for 8 years. I've watched it hit 200,000. I watched it 250,000. I'm trying to squeak it into 300,000, but I'm not so sure. I put a couple $1,000s into it the last couple years, but at this point it's still cheaper than getting a new car. I'm a little nervous about this winter coming up, but we'll see what happens. I'm squirreling away some money just to have as a backup in case she don't make it through the winter.
Oh, all right. All right, James.
Yes. Can you tell us about your appearance on Monday Night Raw?
Oh yeah, Monday Night Raw. That was a while ago. Me and a couple of the local guys got asked to be backstage at Monday Night Raw, and they put all of them into the No Way Jose conga line, which I'm kind of jealous because I thought that would be really cool to do. But instead they had me sit in the crowd and ask a question to Sasha Banks and Bailey at the time, and Alexa Bliss. She was there too. And that was a really cool experience. And, one of those things that, you never imagine that you'll get to do something like that. Like, I didn't even want to be a wrestler when I was growing up, because I didn't watch wrestling growing up. So the fact that I get to, do all these cool things in wrestling is really, really cool. And then, to get featured, years later, they had me come down to Black and Brave to film a segment with Becky Lynch and Liv Morgan. So that was really cool, too.
That's really awesome. I mean, obviously Becky, one of the biggest wrestlers currently. But what was it like, being in the backstage? Is that kind of like a window of where you want to be, so to speak?
It's an interesting atmosphere because with I've been backstage a couple times. It's mostly hanging out and eating catering and getting paid for it, which is the best.
I can imagine.
But with WWE, you're kind of told not to interact with anybody because they're all busy doing things. They're all very everyone's running back and forth, and the talent are superstars, so you're not supposed to bug them. That being said, if they come up to you and talk, that's totally cool. But I think Sean Devari is the one who came up to our group the last time we were all back there because he was one of our trainers back in the day. So it was cool to talk to Sean and Aria when Aria was still there, and it's nice to just see familiar faces.
All right. Can you tell us about the P.O. box that you have?
Oh yeah, I've got a P.O. box. I mostly got it so that I could ship out stuff for my Patreon without giving away my home address, because you don't want just random people on the internet to know your address.
Oh yeah.
But I've also opened it up if people want to be pen pals or send me if they do fan art or anything like that. I was if you want to send me stuff in the mail, I'll gladly open it and take a look at it. And I've got one guy who's consistently been we've been writing letters back and forth, which is really cool. It feels much more personal to me than DMing, because you actually have to take the time to be is it worth sending this through the mail? Because you'll get 1,000 DMs a day of people asking the most generic stuff over and over and over again. But a letter, you kind of get to build a story with it.
Letter writing is definitely a lost form.
Mm-hmm.
All right, Scooter, you have a question.
Yes, now I noticed in one specific Instagram post, you're wearing a shirt, and this might be completely random and I might be reading too much into it. You're wearing a shirt that says Bunny Club. Is there any significance to Bunny Club whatsoever?
Oh, Bunny Club. At this clinic I used to work at, we saw a lot of rabbits, a lot of rabbits. I may have left because I was tired of seeing rabbits. And one day, one of the rabbit rescues we were working with, she was like, "What size of shirt do y'all wear?" And she bought us all these matching Bunny Club shirts. So unfortunately not related to wrestling, but it's a really nice shirt. It's got the 5 common breeds of rabbit on it. There's the standard rabbit, the Flemish, the Netherland, the Lop, and the lion head. So you got like the representation across the front. It's a really comfy shirt. I just don't wear it that often because I don't want people to know that I know about rabbits. Because rabbit people are a different breed of people. They're not like bad people. They're a different set of things, and I have to like mentally prepare myself. I know a lot of great rabbit people, but I also know a lot of ones that are just absolutely insane. Absolutely no offense to anyone listening if you own a rabbit. I think they're adorable. I don't want to think about them right now.
Turning heel on the rabbit people. That being said, how many chicken references do you know?
Chicken references?
Yes.
I know like.
Oh, continue.
I wouldn't say I know more than the average person. Well, maybe more than like the average person, but like growing up like in a farming community, I wouldn't say I know more than like the people around me. Like I watched like Looney Tunes, so I know Foghorn Leghorn. I watched Chicken Run, the movie. But I wouldn't say my rabbit now, or I said rabbits. So now I'm in that mindset. I wouldn't say that I know like any like super obscure chicken references.
Well, in your video about lingo, there was definitely a few that I didn't hear. So that's kind of why I brought it up.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I'm not like super knowledgeable about, but I probably know more than like the average person.
For sure. But can you tell us about being followed by John Cena on Twitter?
Oh, it only took me 5 years on Twitter, but I don't know what John Cena's doing, but he found my account. I don't even follow John Cena. Like if you look at my picture, like I'm not following him because like once he like got out of wrestling, I was like I don't need to know about all the movies and stuff. So the fact that he found me and followed me on Twitter, that's cool. But he's got like thousands and thousands of people he's following. It's like it's cool that like I finally get a little John Cena follow, but it also like isn't like life changing. Like I appreciate it, I really do.
But it's still kind of cool. I mean, the champ following you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is nice. Hopefully it got me some more followers because of his followers. And like he was in the main event of the first wrestling pay-per-view that I ever saw, so like that's cool to like have that come around full circle. Be like, oh, now this guy like maybe knows who I am.
Hey, Scooter, you have a question.
Yes, and I think I'm going to move on to the Colossal one.
Yeah, sure.
All right. Now, hypothetical situation. Let's say they are making a blockbuster movie about the wrestling career of Free Range Kara. And every blockbuster movie has a blockbuster soundtrack to go along with it. What would be 3 to 5 songs on the soundtrack to the Free Range Kara wrestling career film?
Ooh, that's a good question. I feel like I'd have to include Chattahoochee by Alan Jackson as like the number one because that's my theme song. So I'd have to include Chattahoochee by Alan Jackson. And also like he's my mom's favorite singer, so I better put him on there. I was also thinking Boot Scoot and Boogie by Brooks and Dunn. It's all gonna be 90s country music because that's like my forte right there. Otherwise, ooh. You know that thing where someone's like, what's your favorite thing? And your mind just empties completely? That's what mine does every time. What other songs do I like? Gosh, I don't even know. There's so many songs. For sure those two. For sure Alan Jackson and Brooks and Dunn.
We could come back to it later and give you some time to think.
Yeah.
Now to an even harder question, Scooter.
Now, we've got the soundtrack, which is clearly how it's done in Hollywood. They always make the soundtrack before they even start filming. Now we move on to casting. Who would play Free Range Kara in the Free Range Kara wrestling career movie? And you cannot say yourself because you are legally obliged to make a Stan Lee-esque cameo.
Oh, that makes sense. Yeah, this one's gonna get me because I am not good at actors and actresses. I am completely oblivious to what's going on in their world. Who would play me? I guess the first one that popped into my head was Becky Lynch after her being on Young Rock as Cyndi Lauper. So like my brain immediately went to Becky Lynch.
I've got someone in mind. I don't want to influence this.
Well, that's okay. Like I said, I literally am so oblivious to Hollywood and who's even acting anymore.
And James, I don't know if you even know who this person is exactly, but tell me if you agree. Jessica Chastain.
Yes, I could see that for sure.
Let me Google what she looks like because like I said, literally clueless.
But it has to be short-haired Jessica Chastain from It Chapter 2.
Oh, okay. I did watch both those movies, so I should recognize her.
Won an
Oscar,
for
yeah, I could see that.
Tammy Baker. All right.
And obviously, every movie has a supporting cast. Who would be 3 people in your movie?
Ooh, you guys are killing me. I'm so bad at Hollywood.
No, just 3 people in your life that would be in your movie.
Oh, people in my life who would be in the movie.
Yes, the supporting.
I'm sure for sure there'd have to be Eric Cannon, because he's my trainer, and for sure Darren Corbin, and then my husband Chris because he's as much involved in the wrestling world, if not more so than I am.
Now I'll spare you, and I won't ask you who would play these people.
Thank you.
But have you had time to think about the other, at least one more song?
One more song. Oh, what's that band called? I know the song title. It's called Wildflower, but I can't remember who sings it. Let me look it up.
Well, is that oh my god, why can't I? A Monster of Men?
No, not A Monster and Men. The Jane Deere Girls, another country group. Oh, and I definitely have to do Baby Girl by Sugarland because that song has followed me throughout my entire life. So it has to be in there. Otherwise, and then of course I'd have to put in what's it called? Man, I Feel Like a Woman by Shania Twain.
Sweet.
Like I said, I'm very much a 90s country bubble over here.
No, honestly, that's a solid 5 picks. Do you lock it in?
Yeah, I'll lock it in.
Alright. We got the soundtrack, we got the main actor, we got the supporting cast. The director will fill in who will play them at a later date. You can pre-order the tickets now. Alright. Can you tell us about the Lego Office set?
Oh, the Lego Office set. Yeah, we just finished that a week or 2 ago. What a fun little thing to do. Like, we saw that it was coming out. It was too late it was coming out after Chris's birthday, but too soon before Christmas. So we're like, I'm just gonna buy this, and we're just gonna do it because we want to. Chris is like a diehard Office fan, so I was like, I have to get this for him. And we spent an entire day putting together this Lego Office set, and there was like 13 bags of things to go through. Hey, bits. And just the details that are included in that set, like the little like nuances, the little stickers. It's like, you know, of course you've got the stapler in Jell-O, but there's like the sign that says, "It is your birthday," or Kevin's pot of chili, or Angela's poster with the babies playing saxophone. Like just the little tiny details they put into this even tinier Lego set. It was so fun to just build and like be like, oh yeah, that's the reference to that, and all these things. It was really, really fun to put together, and now it's, you know, sitting in our living room, and it's the cutest thing, and I love it.
That's the thing about Lego. They always put those extra little details that make it just a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any? Are you more of a fan of The Office or just Legos?
If I had the money and the space, I would be the biggest Lego nerd. But also, like, you know, now at this point in my life, I've seen The Office so many times that you can almost quote it. Don't hold me to it. I should get Chris in here, but he'll be watching it and it'll be on in the background, and he'll turn to me and say a phrase like 5 seconds before it pops up on the TV. He's like, I know this show.
Speaking of Lego, just last night I actually finished the entire Lego Harry Potter video game.
Oh, nice. That's cool.
Yeah. What about the Lego games? Are those of any particular interest?
I haven't gotten into them yet. I'm working through a couple of games right now on through my Switch, so that also kind of limits my thing. All I have is a Switch.
Ooh, is one of them Animal Crossing?
I did play Animal Crossing, especially during the pandemic. I've fallen off because I can only pluck weeds so many days before I'm like, this is a chore. I'm not trying to do chores.
Yeah, I did the Infinite Bells thing and got everything, and I think it's been like 2 weeks since I actually went back to my island. I'm kind of afraid now, but it's the only game I have right now for a Switch. I just got the Switch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm terrified to go back to my island because I'm afraid my favorite resident has left, and I will just die if she's gone. And I'll just.
Which resident is it?
Her name is Molly, and she's a duck, and she's the cutest little thing. And she gifted me, sometimes they give you little presents. She gifted me a pair of overalls with a green plaid shirt, and I was like, "This is freaking fate that you're here on my island." What do I wear but overalls and like plaid shirts? And she just gave me this gift. I'm like, whichever CIA agent is listening, you got it right.
Oh man. Just run off some of the games that you've been playing.
Let's see. I've got all my games over there. I've played pretty much every Mario game that's on the Switch, minus I think Mario Origami and like the Mario and Rabbids ones. I played Breath of the Wild. That one was amazing. I'm currently working on Kirby: A Forgotten Land. I've got the Witcher set that I need to open up. The game that really, really got me, though, Chris bought it for me, and I never would have bought it on my own, was called Sakuna of Rice and Ruin, which is like 1/2 like farming and 1/2 like fighting demons, which is a really cool game. Like, if I could play it forever, I would. I still occasionally just like plug it in and play it just because I love it so much. It's got a great storyline. It's got really nice characters. And when I was working at that clinic with all the rabbits, and I get frustrated with working with rabbits, there was one area called the Rabbit's Den or the Hare's Den, and you could just mass murder so many rabbits at one time. And it was great. I just go in there and just murder all these rabbits. I'm good now. It's all good.
That sounds a lot like what was it that just came out? Cult of the Lamb.
Oh yeah, Cult of the Lamb. I've heard about that. Haven't played it, but I've heard great things.
Yeah. Oh, all right.
Yeah. Now I'm just waiting for Scarlet and Violet to come out, so I'll pick up that. I should have mentioned I play all the Pokemon games, of course, and then after that it'll be Tears of the Kingdom, Zelda.
Oh God. Yeah. A friend of mine over on a Twitch channel, I'll mention him at the who it is at the end. Spent about 8 hours on his last stream shiny hunting.
Yeah. I don't have the patience for that. When I find him, it's cool. If I don't, I'm just like, whatever.
Yeah,
I'm just here to enjoy a game.
It was a Vespaquin. Yeah,
oh, nice. That's a good one, too. I love Vespaquin.
All right. Let's get into our next segment. Free Range Kira's Bizarre Adventure. You're a pro wrestler that goes up and down the roads and weird, bizarre, and crazy things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a road story that fits that description?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that?
Can you tell us a road story where something weird, crazy, bizarre, or funny has happened?
Ooh. That's a good question. It's been a while since I've been on the road with other people. I did have an incident at the border on my way to Canada my most recent time. I was driving a rental car because, like I mentioned earlier, my van is a dinosaur in mileage terms. And the Border Patrol guy was giving me crap for, he was like, is this your car? I was like, no, sir, it's a rental. And he was like, why are you renting a car? And I was like, I didn't want to bring my vehicle up here. And he goes, why is that? And I said, sir, because my vehicle has 283,000 miles on it, and my mechanic told me not to. And the guys in the back are trying not to, like, laugh. And I was like, oh, just please don't pull us over. We have to get to the show. We're cutting it close on getting there on time. Like, please don't make us pull over.
All right. Onto a controversial subject. Pineapple on pizza. What's your stance?
Ooh, absolutely not. Absolutely not. I can't do it. Pineapple makes my mouth hurt, so I can't do it. Even just like regular pineapple, like I can't do it.
Okay. What's your spirit Pokemon?
My spirit Pokemon is Arcanine. 1 year in college, me and my best friend made a spreadsheet to find out what our favorite Pokemon was. We went by generation and by type, and we narrowed it down eventually, and mine was an Arcanine, which I totally agree with. I have a deep love of Arcanine, so I think that would be my spirit Pokemon.
I don't think we've ever had anybody that's actually done like a quiz/test to figure it out.
Yeah. We literally made an entire spreadsheet and spent like an entire like afternoon like, all right, and what's your favorite bug type from Gen 1? And we went through that. We did legendaries from each generation. We included the mega evolutions, literally everything we could think of. And eventually narrowed it down by type and by generation, and they all converged. And he got Eevee, and I got Arcanine.
All right. Weirdest question you'll be asked on a wrestling interview. Would you ever consider wrestling a Rock? Not Dwayne Johnson, Scooter.
Not the country.
An actual Rock.
I mean, if they're paying me, they're paying me. So, I mean, like, if they ask me to wrestle a Rock, I'm sure. Like, I've seen people wrestle brooms before, so it can't be, like, that far removed. It'd be better if it was a tag match. It's more difficult to do a one-on-one, but if you have, like, a tag match where there's more people to feed off of, it can be really, really entertaining.
All right, so let's assume The Rock is teaming with a hamburger bun,
Mm-hmm.
or in their team Rock and Roll.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one.
I was going to suggest Hot Place, his rival, which is another Rock. But just for context, there's this wrestler named Psycho Mike that wrestled in actual Rock for over 15 minutes in a man match. An Iron Man match that lasted for 2 weeks.
Canadians.
Yes. Alright. We love the late great Tracy Smothers on the show. Do you know the acronym for Thug? THUG.
You know, I don't.
Squirtle?
T is for terrible. H is for hell. U is for ugly. And G is for jail, 'cause a thug can't spell.
Yeah, we love Tracy trying to keep the memory alive. On a more serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
Where I'd like to see myself would be, wrestling more, wrestling more places. I'd love to make I'd love to make it from part-time wrestling to full-time wrestling, drop my actual job down to a part-time or no time. I don't know if I'm looking to get into like the WWE or AEW. I just like to be able to kind of make my own schedule and just kind of travel around and wrestle. I think it'd be really great.
And then you don't have to deal with those rabbits anymore.
Yep, no more rabbits.
And what's a match that people should go out of their way to see that best shows off what you're all about?
Ooh, I think they'd really like myself versus Badger Briggs at WrestlePalooza.
I believe that's on YouTube?
I think it's on YouTube, yeah. If it's not, I think myself and Kiera is on YouTube, which is also a really great one.
Alright, well, I'll find those matches and I'll put them in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox for somebody that hasn't seen it, wants to see it, wants to revisit it after this interview.
Yeah.
And since we're nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom.
Dun, dun, dun.
This is our speed round, our bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready?
Yep.
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
I used to say CM Punk, but now I can't do that one anymore. So Eric Cannon.
Worst wrestler.
Ooh, I don't do those ones. I'll pass.
Scooter, give for the default answer.
Please don't at us. Your default selection is Eva Marie.
You're main eventing WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who is your opponent?
Becky Lynch.
If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Billy Gunn, Ass Man.
Sweet. Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is...
Overrated.
We also would have accepted is quite good on toast.
Squash. Fruit or vegetable?
Squash is a vegetable.
It's a fruit.
Okay.
Tomato logic.
Seeds. You know, in the way that strawberries are not actually berries, and
but bananas are.
Yes.
Yes. But you're now part of Squash Squad, and that means more. New Japan wrestler Taichi, his ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
I'm team like half cheek. I like half cheek.
Alright. And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
I have not.
And that is the correct answer. That will conclude this interview. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with us.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me.
Once again, where can we find you on social media?
You can find me on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok at Free Range Kara. You can find my merchandise. I have some old stuff on ProWrestlingTees.com, or you can go to FreeRangeCara.com. And if you type Free Range Cara into Google, you will find whatever else you are looking for.
And you don't even have to type it into your Google machine. All of those links will be in the description of the video below, both on YouTube and Castbox. You have no excuse. Simply click the link, and buy a damn shirt.
Please, it feeds me.
Of course, thank you for listening. Please like, subscribe, comment both on YouTube and Castbox. Join us tomorrow for an incredible interview with the owner of Pizza Party Pro, Dan Scotti. Join us next Wednesday as we interview the owner of Capital Championship Wrestling, Marcello Squirewell. Of course, this and everything else is sponsored by Rogue Energy and Claremont Coffee. Follow the show at Wrestling with E on both Twitter and Instagram. On Twitter, obviously, information on who we're interviewing, when we're interviewing them, links to those interviews, etc., etc. You can follow me personally at JamesJ993. Where can we find Scooter?
As always, my stand-up comedy tour continues live from Camp Lejeune, free water with admission. As always, find me on Twitter at Scooter Dust. Find me, James and Ryan Dust, hosting the Remix on YouTube, the only premier audio companion experience for all your alternate commentary needs for WWE Premium Live events. Next time we come to you, Survivor Series, War Games, and, of course, follow my antics as I continue to embark on my first Dungeons & Dragons campaign ever, along with Rico Constantino Jr. and the rest of the Smoking Dragons clan, twitch.tv/Smoking Dragons.
Alright, now Kara, when I say wrestling wit, you say entertainment, okay?
Alright.
For always special guest Free Range Kara, Kaliko Yacht, Scooter Dust, I am James J, and this has been Wrestling with
Entertainment. Yeehaw!
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.